Hi, welcome. I just want to talk about the importance of a timeline. I have been putting together files for over 20 years, putting together timelines and so forth, and it forces a person to pay attention to detail, to think four-dimensionally, and really helps with the accuracy as you grow in your theology and your studies over time. And so like I said, I've been doing this for over 20 years, and there's a point where even in this last year, light bulb after light bulb after light bulb came on, because I have been working on the timeline, and I specifically work in the area of Revelation this year. And but what I have noticed is people, even scholars, have not taken the time to put together a horizontal timeline. And I cannot stress enough the importance of taking the time to do that. It forces the person to pay attention to detail and really piece it together carefully and assembling it. Every single scholar today did not have an accurate timeline. I know that was a bold statement. I was talking to a gentleman about it. I come across as arrogant when I say that, but who has taken the time to put together a timeline, a horizontal one with the dates on it? Nobody has. So I am trying to push for scholars to take the time, buy some sort of software. It doesn't have to be so much scholars either. Just people go to seminary or serious Bible students that are studying on their own. Piece together a timeline, buy some sort of software, just something that does lines and text. That's all that's really needed. And that way, as you grow in your studies, and you take advantage of this scholar over here, and you can piece together there, or you might have to shift this over here based on what this person said, and this person more accurate than this person. You're accumulating progress, and it's being recorded. All right, it doesn't go away unless you forget to save your file somewhere. Okay, but yeah. So if you plan buying software, something to keep in mind. What I have done, with AutoCAD allows you to add in hyperlinks. So I'm going to show you how it's done in AutoCAD. Maybe you use a different software. It might be done a little differently, but I'm going to go ahead and show you how I do it in AutoCAD. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually click on this, and I'm going to change it to 5.1. Okay, that way it's different. I'm going to copy the URL, okay, in my clipboard. Okay, so I go into here, and I double click, highlight the whole thing, insert field. Then I scroll down to where it says hyperlink, and then I'm going to type in whatever I want the user to see, and then I'm going to add the hyperlink. So I'm going to paste it in there. Okay, I'm going to make this by layer. All right, so now when I click on it, or let me get rid of this. Okay, so it's gone. Now I'm going to click on this, and it'll come up. There you go. Okay, so that's how I do it in AutoCAD. Now, you might be using a different software, might be done something similar. And then when I go to print, I use AutoCAD, PDF, Web, and Mobile, and you pick and choose your print file. Okay, so it's PDF, and it allows the links, and then everything else your norm. So just make sure you pick that one when you print. So again, I cannot stress enough the importance. There's the one guy who's been a serious student of the Bible for 40 years, and he never taken the time to get a timeline where he's piecing together, paying attention to detail, and just talking with him, getting a sense of his timeline. It is so messed up. I am saying that mildly. His timeline is so messed up, and he's getting almost 50 followers a week, gaining 50 followers. Okay. because he's not told to act timeline, he believes in the things that are false, that's a little ticklish to the ear, okay? And that's why he's getting on a lot of people, but it's false. If he had taken the time to carefully put together a timeline 40 years ago, he would not be tickling people's ears with false information. And he really believed what he's saying, what he believed. I don't want to give any details of it. I don't, connect with him on Facebook, and I don't want him thinking that I'm bad-mouthing him, okay? But there are people that just, if they had taken the time to carefully put together a timeline, it would go a long ways. Start thinking four-dimensionally and chronologically, and then you start adding dates, and then you start to see some pretty cool stuff. When you have an accurate timeline, you start to see some pretty cool pattern with God. And so, so I've been doing this for over 20 years. As you can see, I got a lot of files. You can see here, this here, got this here. This is a whole another series of files. Like I said, I've been doing it for over 20 years. It takes a while for it to open up. So, I mean, the scholars who have voices out there, if only they had taken the time to put together a timeline and piece it together, and this, by doing so, allow people to compare timelines and ask questions. Well, how did you come up with this, or how did you come up with that? And really opened up discussion, And problem is we're limited to books, and a timeline is like, this is like a huge book right here, all in a 4D perspective. Try putting this together in a book. It would require an awful lot of reading. You're conveying a lot of information, and you can have videos and like this here, web links. I mean, you tie everything together, So like I said, video, web links, connection to other PDFs. It's a great tool way to go if you really want to convey your understanding of things. But again, I encourage you to carefully piece together a timeline. And one advantage that resulted from my work, that I have discovered a whole chapter that super majority of scholars know nothing about. The reason is because there's a period in history where knowledge ceased. Paul talked about 1 Corinthians 13. Basically, pencils, papyrus were put down, and nothing was documented. What happened in this green section here. All right. And the only way to know that by carefully piecing together a timeline, and you begin to discover things like that. And so this is actually this green area here is the area I'm talking about. This is actually the most intimate point in history between God and the bride of Christ, the house of Israel in the first century. We know so little about it. And again, the only way to discover that by accurately piecing together a timeline. Okay. And then I start thinking through the logistics and looking at Google Earth. Okay, I see this here. Oh, okay. And the area where most scholars believe to took place, there's no evidence to support that. Not to say that people didn't go there, but the area that they actually went to, there's evidence that we can look on Google Earth, and it fits with the scripture. So anyway, there's a whole chapter here that we know so little about, and I'm getting a lot of resistance, and that's why I'm encouraging it. Hey, you put together a timeline. I'm going to give you the verses. You piece it together. See what you come up with. All right. Nobody has done that yet except for me. So with a set of verses. All right. And so that's why I'm encouraging others, especially if you're a new believer, start your timeline. I guarantee you 20 years down the road, you're going to look back. that is the best thing you have ever done. Start that timeline. And so I guarantee you. So anyway, thank you very much, and wish you continue to enjoy your studies.